Be still and know that I am God. I do not think that means what you think it means. This phrase, be still and know that I am God, is sort of stock devotional literature for Christians in the 20th and 21st centuries. Myself, a contemplative, I love me some stillness, and I can get down on knowing that I am not God. Invitations to stillness and silence resonate deeply with me, but I gotta say that that is not what's happening in this passage. And that's kind of great news right now, when it's very hard to be still, and it's very hard to see how my stillness is going to do anything for the astounding chaos in the world. So Psalm 46 is broken into 3 stanzas, separated by a Selah between the first and second, the second and third, and then one at the very end. Where the word Selah occurs in a psalm, it's possibly a musical interlude, or there might have been something happening in the temple or the tabernacle at that time, but it's typically understood to be a moment for reflection. These stanzas crescendo. The drama that's played out in the first stanza gets clearer and more powerful in the second stanza, and in the third stanza, it explodes. Let me read you the first stanza. God is our refuge and our strength, a very present, possibly here this could be a very proven, help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear. Though the earth gives way, though the mountains be moved into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, and though the mountains tremble at its swelling. Selah. When a Hebrew sang this, when a Hebrew heard this sung, the symbols here are powerful. Mountains are a symbol for strength and safety. They're a picture of unassailable surety. The earth is a symbol of blessing and benefit. From the earth come the crops. The earth is stable. We live on it. Because the earth doesn't move, we can be all right. The seas are a picture of chaos. Sometimes the seas specifically refer to neighboring warlike nations who want a piece of Israel. But the bigger the water, the bigger the chaos. The noisier the water in the psalm, the worse the disorientation. The foamier and the deeper the water, the deeper the terror and the fear. So in this stanza, the earth breaks away and the mountains fall into the middle of the sea. Not just the sea, but the heart of it. The mountains from which we draw our confidence and our sense of safety that we will get through what happens, they tremble at the roaring and swelling of the chaos. The things that we were counting on to make us feel safe crumble. The second stanza is a scene change, but it returns to the theme. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. God will help her when morning dawns. The nations rage, the kingdoms totter. He utters his voice and the earth melts. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Selah. So in the second stanza, there's this quiet picture, this gently flowing river in the midst of the city on the mountain where God lives with us and we live with God. You can hear the birds chirping. It's peaceful and it's a vivid contrast from what's happening outside the walls. The waves are crashing against the walls of God's fortress. And in the midst, we are quiet. I was reminded of this psalm the other day when I heard a song. One of the lines said, "The grass is always greener on the inside where the Lord is." But again, the chaos is present. The kingdoms are raging. The nations rage and the kingdoms totter. But now we begin to see why we are not afraid. In the first stanza, we will not fear though all this happens, because we are in the city and God is in the city and God speaks and the chaos is blown away. Let's see how that happens. Verse 8, third stanza. Come behold the works of the Lord, how he has brought desolations on the earth. He makes wars to cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the chariots with fire. Now, quotation. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. In the last stanza, when God speaks, the earth melts. In this stanza, God speaks. He speaks from the walls of the city out to the chaos. He says, be still, shut up. I am God. You will all know that soon enough. The spears shatter. The chariots burst into flames. It's like a neutron bomb that emanates from the walls of the city out, laying flat the waves and the rage and the chaos, utterly dissipating it before the utterly irresistible power of the voice of God. This is what the disciples experienced in the boat with Jesus. While the waves and the wind and the sea and the chaos were about to pull them under, Jesus sat up and he said exactly the same words. Peace, be still. Shut up. Quiet. And then the disciples knew that he was God. So this isn't a challenge from God to somehow force yourself to be still, even though the world is broken and things are going to get really bad for so many. God is not inviting you to wrestle yourself into a quiet position. God is telling you that you can be quiet because God's voice will wrestle the world into a quiet position. Ultimately, God will have the last word in this. God will speak, and it will be decisive. And because we know that, we do not have to fear. Similar imagery for God's voice is found in Psalm 29, which was the reading for today. You find God speaking and trees shattering and earthquakes and undulations of land and sea. God sits enthroned above the waters. He sits enthroned in the midst of us. And therefore, we will not fear. So be blessed, like the people in the city or the disciples in the boat. Let it give you peace, that when God says be still, he says it to the chaos. So leave a comment below. What does it do for your heart to know that God will have the last word and that his voice can trump the chaos?